Welcome to an all-new episode of Colorful Lives presented by State Farm. This season, we've been focusing on all the things that we wish we knew before major life events. So far, we've covered everything from getting into debt to having a baby.
It's you.
In this week's episode, we're going to dig into the things that you should know before starting and managing a business.
And all three of us are business owners, and some of us even own more than one business.
Oh, man. Well, listen, I will say, yes, I have a couple of businesses now. You know, since we did the last season, I have launched a new business called Drink Fresh Juice.
You did? Yes.
That's right. It's only been a few months, and we've definitely early on had some growing pains because I think what we envisioned for that particular business isn't where it is right now. So, and it's only been a few months.
Yeah.
So when we first launched, we were like, this is going to be heavy online, heavily subscription-based. People can order these juices, a 6-pack at a time, and get it delivered. What we didn't anticipate was the high delivery costs and then the margin of error for the distribution place when they send it out and the shipping and just anything that can go wrong when somebody's not home and they don't get the delivery.
Oh my God, your juice has been sitting out on the,
And you know how customers are. So
Right.
As a customer myself.
like my juice was on the porch all day.
I know.
Oh,
So
man,
how are you rolling with those punches? I feel like being a business owner is like you're always rolling with the punches.
So what you have to do, and what we did was we really had to sit down and regroup, and we did bring in an outside person to help us figure out what is it that we need to do differently. So we moved away from what we thought would be the core of our business because it is what was making us the most money, which was the person-to-person distribution, where it was just online, get your subscription, get your juices delivered that way. And we actually shut down that part of the business for now.
Okay.
Which is definitely not what we anticipated doing. So what he told us we should do is concentrate on doing festivals.
Okay.
And getting into actual stores and restaurants because it is a larger payout for less work because we don't have the manpower right now to have a person dealing with each complaint, this didn't go right or I wasn't home and then the delivery didn't get there and then it got sent back. So it's just a lot of different variables when you deal with each person and it's very little cost that you don't make enough to deal with one person at a time. So now we've been working on getting our product into different festivals where you can make, enough in one day that you would make in 1 month. And that's not something that I even thought would happen.
Because you guys were at Afropunk last year, right?
So what we did last year, we hadn't launched yet, but we made some samplings for Afropunk for one particular client.
Got you.
So it was just at their booth. They were giving it away for free. So what I've been doing now is just doing like events and we're in some restaurants and we're in some stores where you can go and buy it, but it's more like a mass purchase than getting it one by one. And then of course I have the juice bar.
Yeah.
Juices for Life. And it's 3 years since that juice bar. So
That
it's
seems
3
like
years
you
this
just
year.
opened that.
I know.
Yeah, and I will say that business has been running pretty smoothly.
Good.
We worked
That's
out a
great.
lot of the kinks. Fortunately, I hooked up with Styles P, who already has 3 other juice bars, so it's pretty smooth. Like he knew how to deal with whatever might come our way. So that's been a lot easier, a lot smoother. The only thing about that is having a brick and mortar location.
Yeah.
It's always something like I'll be in the middle of doing something and get a text that a pipe burst in the basement and there was water gushing everywhere.
Oh my
So
gosh.
now I'm like in the middle of working and then I have to get a plumber and then get that done and then of course dealing with employees and making sure that it's a lot of turnover when it comes to that. People are leaving and going to school. People are getting other jobs. People are coming in late and having to get let go, having to deal with personalities. But that's an ongoing thing. But I will say as far as the business, as long as you have good management and a good team of people helping you, that's been easier.
That's really good. That's really good. I mean, I think having the baby has really forced me to look at my business differently. So we launched our membership club, which is a recurring subscription for our audience because it was, you really want to make sure that you have that planned residual income coming in each and every month. Like this is what I know we're making. This is what we can do with the business because I have a team that I pay. Right. And so just because we have an off month, they still have to get paid. They still have bills.
Right.
And so that was really good. So now that I pay them out of the income coming in from the membership club. So I'm really happy about that. And I've been looking into another business venture, guys. So thinking about getting into government contracting.
What? That's a great idea.
Yeah, looking
Great
at,
idea.
My husband is a videographer, and so looking at getting him set up for contracting services for the government, as far as providing videography. So hopefully, maybe he shoots like an Army commercial or something like that.
That's great.
so great.
People get like really rich off of that.
I know. I was talking to a woman, and she said, especially for Black women or minority women, there are so many set asides and so forth, and under a certain amount, it's easier to qualify for. So like $150,000. She's like, that's a drop in the bucket for the government. But it's like, $150,000 or $300,000 contract, like, we're doing pretty good.
I've been checking into that too. That's great because I got my WMBE, as you know.
You did, yes.
I did.
Yes, it's important to get those certifications because they help you when you're going up for, competitive projects and so forth.
I love that you're thinking about it in such a flexible way also, because I think that a lot of people who do creative work, a lot of times don't think really broadly about where are my services needed.
Yeah.
And so, something like government contracting, it doesn't sound very sexy. It doesn't, it's like you're not going to win an Oscar off of that. But also, that's hard work, it's good work, and your work is seen by literal millions of people.
And it's good money.
It is.
The government is the best employer, probably.
It is.
Everything is transparent.
They're the biggest buyer.
This year's been really interesting for me because I spent most of it finishing a book that will be out in 2020.
I'm so excited.
That's so exciting to me. You
Y'all,
don't understand.
We've been talking about this book for 3 seasons.
I know, but I'm so excited.
It's still not out. It is. It's a really long process. And I think that, as somebody who works really online digitally, it's taught me so much about putting your head down to do work because everything that we do is always like you do something and then people see it and you get rewarded for it immediately or it fails immediately. And I just forgot what that was like to be like, okay, this is a 3-year process no matter what. You put your head down, you do the work, and then you pass it on to someone, and then they're like doing the editing and the marketing and all of that stuff, and it's not even going to be out for another year. And so it really challenged me a lot in the beginning because I'm just not used to working on long-term projects like that. But I've really decided that I want to focus more on things like that, actually.
I like that.
Because also being an author is not people don't get into writing books for making money. Like nobody is getting rich off of writing books.
A few people.
We had a year to write it, and when we turned it in, I was like, I could have taken another year to do this because it's a lot of work, and sometimes it's very emotional work. So, working on a deadline on a project that's personal, usually that's not how you're dealing with it. But I think that the thing that it's made me think about the most is how, the thing that's good about this is that I can always have one project that's in the background, and then I can add on whatever else I want to be doing because, it's like I run basically the LLC that hosts my podcast with my 2 friends, Ann Friedman and Gina Delvac, and that business does really well. I was like, we now have 4 or 5 people that work for us. And that's
amazing.
When we set out to do that podcast 5 years ago, I never thought that would be possible. And I'm like, we're out here running payroll. I was like, we're paying taxes for people to work for us. And it's really exciting. But it also, as there's just that pressure of, we have to make enough money to pay everyone now.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm just not responsible for myself. Other people's dreams and their rent and their whatever, they depend on us for that. So
I've definitely had jobs where my checks would bounce or we would get paid late.
Yeah.
In the past, and I never want to be that.
You don't want to be that person.
I never want to be that employer. So it's a good kind of fire to light under you. But I also think that for me, I'm a reluctant business owner. I was doing what I wanted to do. And then next thing you know, there's checks you need to cash. There's accountants you need to hire. It happened accidentally for me. So I think that I'm learning as I'm going. But I am also balancing that with the fact that I am also a business. And, and it's I have my own personal LLC. That's what I run all of my business through. It's really challenging for me because my brain is I'm such a creative person. The logistics of what it takes to be, to do this sometimes are hard, but I'm really excited about the team that I have. It's I like my agents. I like my lawyers. I love my accountant. There's so many people who are part of the team now to make me just to keep the trains running.
Yeah.
But I think that it's so, even if you're not someone who has a brick and mortar store or you don't, there's not a thing that you do, you still do need to think of yourself as a business.
Yeah. Everybody should.
Absolutely.
And it's just, for me, it's it's changed my career. career trajectory. It's changed my motivation for a lot of things. And it's also like made me a little bit more ambitious. Like I really want, one of the goals that I gave myself for 2020 is that I want to make something. And I'm like, I want to make something and I want to sell that. And I think that it's probably going to be like in the skincare realm.
Oh.
And it's, but it's,
I'll buy it.
It's good to challenge yourself.
Yeah, we'll buy it.
Thank you. I'll give it to you. But yeah, I know you will also support. But I think that for me, I'm just like, I'm trying to find, like, what's something that I care about that I want to try? And what's a skill set that I'm trying to learn? And I think that like manufacturing is something I'm curious about. Skincare is something I'm curious about. But also like selling something is something that I've eternally been curious about. So
yeah.
I think, like, you ladies motivate me a lot to like try new things.
I think we motivate each other. You
Absolutely. Listen, I got to get my book done.
Listen, you're like, let's talk about it.
Get it done.
Well, then also in thinking about business, you have to have business insurance, and it's really important, but it actually might be more affordable than most people realize. And so the right insurance for your needs helps protect the business. It's employees, your customers, and your assets.
Right.
Because like you said, it's not just you now that needs protection. It's everyone who comes in contact with your business. But there are also a number of different types of policies available. Most people don't realize that. Yep. So you want to find out which policy fits the size and the scope of your business, because it's not one size fits all with any type of insurance, but business insurance especially.
So you're saying that if somebody is just like, you're one woman business and you're like working from home, that there's still some sort of insurance that can work for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All different kinds.
Yeah, and you have to think about, I know, going into, maternity leave and everything and adding to my family, I had to think about what that looks like and what would happen if like we experienced a significant loss of income because I didn't bounce back from having the baby as soon as I planned. And I actually did extend my maternity leave 3 months. So yeah, you have to think about that. You have to think about, what happens if my spouse is injured? What happens if, someone who works for me is injured? Just all those different things are really important. And, you have general liability insurance. You have business owner policies, professional liability insurance, errors and omissions insurance. I know this all sounds fun. I know it does.
Errors and
This is where my like eyes start glazing over and I just get stressed out.
But it's really important.
It is, but then there's cyber liability insurance. Like I think that's a millennium thing. That's like a Y2K.
So if I lie on the internet, you can sue me?
Somebody might, especially you, Angela. Especially you. Like there you get,
you work on the radio, so let's get into it.
My job better have that, okay?
And then if you have employees, you definitely want to look into workers' compensation.
Oh yeah, we have workers' comp.
Yeah.
All you need is for somebody to say, I slipped and fell at work and now I'm going to sue you guys. You have to make sure that you're covered for that.
And then it's on you, yeah.
Or if somebody really does get injured somehow. I mean, we have blenders, juicers, knives.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Injuries happen. And I think also people always think of insurance, especially young people, they're like, oh, I don't need that. And it's like, well, guess what? Life happens. Life will happen.
You could lose your whole business.
Life will happen to you.
The right insurance.
And that's the whole point of insurance is that, they're like, fingers crossed, nothing happens to you. But if something does happen, then you're already protected because you've been paying into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I know that.
But we're just going to keep that story to myself.
You're like, I don't want to get sued. But one thing I've noticed is how becoming a small business owner actually gives you a new perspective on work, as you've said, Amina. Do you think it's important for the relationship between employer and employee to be mutually beneficial? There's a lot of things that you can offer employees beyond compensation that will make them feel valued. And I definitely try to do that. Like at the juice bar, we had this employee of the month thing. So whoever, and they get to vote. So whoever gets the most votes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you can't vote for yourself, clearly. So they send me their votes. And so I've done things like, took the two people, there was a tie one month and they got to go to the Nets game and be in the suite with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Nets game. Or I might do something like there's a store in Brooklyn, Woodstock, where I'll give you a gift card and you get to go and buy like some sneakers and, just things like that. So every month somebody gets something like that. And then also once a year, I like to have a dinner at my house. So everybody gets to come over, relax, listen to music, eat, drink, have a good time, and relax. But I think it's important for employees to see that they are valued. Sometimes we get mad when people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. But when do we say, "Hey, great job"?
Hey, I'm coming to work for Angela, so I can go.
I know.
Well, that's only if you
I'm
get
trying to
employee of
work
the
at
month.
the
I
juice
don't know if
bar.
you'll get employee of the month.
I will get employee of the month.
Ain't
I'll
nobody
vote for you.
I know
I'll
people
vote
will
for
vote
you.
for you guys.
I'll be like, Amina,
I'll vote for you.
dial me in.
You know, it's funny when I have a really hard time thinking of myself as a boss because even the people who the staff that we have on Call Your Girlfriend, I always say they work with us.
Yeah, I use the word
for
with
us.
too.
Yeah, they do.
And because for me, a lot of that is just semantics. Nothing makes me angrier than when you're at some sort of networking event and somebody's like, "Oh, here's someone who works for me." I'm like, what are you trying to flex, right? It's like, if the point is that we're all a team, then people work with each other. And and managing people also is like very delicate. It's actually a skill set, and it's a skill set that a lot of people are not trained for. I was like, people go to school for managing. And I know that for me, when I worked at a tech startup, I really struggled with managing people because I was like, this is not my calling in life. 1, 2, I like to manage projects. I don't like to manage people. And also, when you're managing people, you have to do your job on top of it, right? It's like you're everybody's coach, you're holding their hand, but you also have your own stuff to do.
Right.
And the thing that works really well for me is that I like to really over communicate with people that I work with about what their goals are, because I don't assume that whatever it is that we're doing, that's what they want to do in life.
Like this might just be how you're getting
and
paid.
so I think a lot about anybody who works with me. I was like, this is a stepping stone for the next thing that you're going to do. So how do I empower you enough that when you are ready to go, 1, you can feel free to do that, but also 2, like, how do we help you do that, right? Every job should be an opportunity to learn. And so for me, it's like, it's really important to, I will always introduce people that work with me to other people that they want to know in other industries. I'm like, if it's within my power to make introductions to you and set you up on coffee dates and, like intro meetings, I will always do that. In my check-ins, I always ask them, like, what is it? Like, what do you want to do? I know that your goal is not to forever be, like the second producer on a podcast. Like, clearly there are other things that you want to do. Like, what are we going to learn about that? And also, I think that being generous is really, really, really important. Like, I love what you were saying about, like having people over to your house for dinner, taking people to games, because I think that especially for millennials, part of our damage with work is that we don't feel that we're valued at work, right? And so, and I know that a lot of people want to make fun of that. They're just like, oh, like, why do you care so much? I'm like, we care because that's what they told us the workplace would be like. But also, if you're going to spend all of your time somewhere, I'm like, it doesn't matter what you do. People want to feel that they bring something because it allows you to be your full self at work.
I agree.
And people also work harder and better when they feel like they're part of
when
this.
they're valued. I know that I love my assistant, and I hear you on like helping people move to the next level, but you're stuck with me if you're watching this. You're not going anywhere. Like, I love my assistant, and it took me 5 other assistants to find her. Right. But what's great about her is like she calls herself a sanity support specialist, and she specializes in helping business owners maintain their sanity. But I do make sure that I take care of them. We did a business retreat. We do a team retreat every year. So we went to Atlanta and we all got a house and we just holed up in the house and just it was like self-care, also business planning and so forth. So we do that every year. But it is just doing nice things. Just like, hey, I saw that you moved into a new place. Here goes a gift card, to furnish something in your place. Or like, here's something, or take this off. Or I know that a lot of times with my team, they don't have paid vacation. So it's like, if I can give you a bonus before you go on vacation, that way you can, use the money and so forth. And now we have, Karis's nanny who like, also I want to make sure she's happy because she's watching our child.
You absolutely, you don't want her to be upset.
The happiest. And so, making sure that she's happy and, comfortable, and I just, make sure that I extend, opportunities to her and introduce her to other people and bring her along. She's here with us in New York, and this is her first time coming to New York. So, just always listening. I think listening is one of those big things that I've learned as a business owner, listening to your team. Like, they don't just listen to you, you listen to them.
And you have to give credit. I think that if you are a good leader, you know that you can only do the work that you do because there are so many people who support you. And there's not, for me, I always notice that people who they take credit and they never credit their teams. I'm like, actually, the people who work with you are instrumental to anybody standing like if you have an opportunity to be an outward facing leader, it's because there's so many people behind you.
That's like, because I am a mess on my own, I would tell you. I am definitely a mess on my own. Like some days I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need some help. But even like my makeup artist, she's here with me today and she does my makeup at work for Revolt. You know, we're on in Revolt every morning. And I always make sure like whenever there's an opportunity for her to do something else or somebody's like, I need a makeup artist, I always refer her because she does great work. I know she's professional. Because as an employee, you also have a responsibility too, right? To make sure that you're professional, you're on time so that people will want to say,
very true.
And I can co-sign that person. That person is great at what they do. Yeah. And so I think that's important too, like to make sure that you can't just expect somebody to do things for you and reward you when you're not really going and doing your responsibilities. And
that is so true.
Sometimes beyond that.
That is so true. Be the person they talk about.
We're talking a lot about starting and managing a business in this week's episode, and we hope that sharing our perspective does help. But this podcast, of course, is not the only resource. There's nearly 19,000 State Farm agents all over the United States, and they're waiting to help protect what's important to you and guide you through major life milestones. For this week's Ask an Agent segment, we reached out to get some practical advice that you'll want to consider before going into business.
Ladies, I'm sad that our season is coming to a close, but I am excited that we're talking about starting a business this week. I have definitely learned a lot as a business owner over the years. Here are some of the things I wish I figured out sooner. Manage your cash flow. Most small businesses fail for a number of reasons, but the most common is running out of money. You should know where every dollar is coming from and going, so establish a budget, stick to it, and review it on a regular basis. With a new business, you're going to be hit with expenses from every direction. Accounting software can help you remain organized, track your spending, making it easier when tax season comes around. As your business grows, the accounting will become more difficult. When that happens, you might want to consider working with a full-time accountant. In the early stages, limit fixed expenses. Allocating most of your capital to growth is critical to your business longevity. Keep money reserves in a savings account as an emergency fund. Pay yourself. Don't overcompensate in the beginning, but make sure you pay yourself enough money to live comfortably, eliminating that personal financial stress that will allow you to stay focused on building your business. Create financial goals. Make sure they are reachable, measurable. Monthly, weekly, and daily revenue goals will help you stay on track. This will help you identify when adjustments need to be made for reaching your goals. For more financial tips on operating and sustaining a small business, talk to your local State Farm agent or visit us at statefarm.com.
Okay, guys, so for the second half of the show, we have Amina Daniels joining us.
Yes.
Great name. Is the visionary behind the Live Cycle Delight and LCD Hot in Detroit. Thanks for joining us, Amina.
Yes, thank you, Amina.
Thank you for having me.
I love your name, Amina.
Me too, faithful.
When people look at you now, they see a mogul who's really putting it on for her hometown. But every business that's big or small starts with a dream. Can you tell us about your own journey from dreaming to being a doer and how you found your passion?
Yeah, well, it started from leaving New York, which was very hard. It's still hard to come back and not live in the city. So it's really about trade-offs, which is really entrepreneurship. And really entrepreneurship from the startup is what can you let go of or what sacrifices are you willing to make for the name of your business? So I packed up my car. I left a whole bunch of clothes. I'm like, what happened to that dress? Left it when I moved away. And I knew that Detroit had an opportunity to be healthier, especially being a Black city and within the Black community. Heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, those are all the leading 3 causes of death. And they're all preventable with diet and exercise. So I wanted to move back home and be a catalyst of change. And I also had lived in Atlanta and in New York, obviously. And you see when gentrification happens, what's the disconnect within the community? So I really wanted to be that catalyst of change and almost like a partner uniting both sides, the neighborhood that has been there and obviously the neighborhood neighborhood that is coming. So I moved home in 2013. I started working at a gym just to kind of get a better understanding, which was even taking a complete step back after having a career and a job and a salary and doing all these things in New York and then coming back home and working at a gym. But I really wanted to understand the marketplace and I wanted to know what Detroit needed and also what they wanted. 2 months into moving back home, I got hit by a car while on my bike, just biking through Midtown, like I biked in New York all the time. But that was like my you are no longer in New York wake up call.
Yeah.
So I spent the next 2.5 years in and out of surgery, physical therapy, but it was really great because I could cycle. That was the one thing that I could do. I could always cycle. And then I was able to connect with general population who did not exercise, who were not active since the age of 18. In 2014, I enrolled in TechTown's retail boot camp. And then the following year, I entered the Hatch Detroit competition. I won $50,000 to help open my brick and mortar location. I thought, wow, it's going to be so easy. Now I can find a place. I can get a loan. This would be great. It was actually the complete opposite. I looked at 92 properties.
Oh my gosh. Because nobody's counting. 92
properties. That was 91 no's. A lot of different no's. One landlord told me that I needed to pay the entire rent for the year up front. When somebody says no, it just means not with you or not right now. There was one woman, she was a Black woman. She wanted me to invest $200,000 into her property and then make it a revolving space for other pop-up businesses.
Why would you do that?
That's not how that works.
Because it was for her.
That sounds crazy. Okay.
Wow.
But you
That's
were like,
bold.
but all of this,
For that, you could have bought your own space.
right? I love this because your passion is what is fueling you. You turn your passion into action.
And during this time, I was trying to figure out what I could do. So I was popping up around the city. I was leading bike rides outdoors, and just still looking and, not becoming discouraged. And finally, I was Motor City matched in 2016, which was great. It was another grant process. And I found a lower level space, which in Detroit was like unheard of. People are like, you can't be successful. Nobody lives there. What are you going to do? It's been great. We revitalized a neighborhood corridor. We hired teens from the community.
Love
So
to see
that's
it.
great. I like to say they're the backbone of our business. And we expanded to a second location last year in 2018. So
Look at
that's
you.
amazing.
That's so good.
good. It's a labor of love.
I always love the idea of not expanding too fast sometimes too, because sometimes people get something, it's working, and then they're like, okay, we're going to open 5 more locations. And I'm very into like, okay, let's get the growth, but let's do it in a timely manner.
But do you feel like people are always asking now, like, what's next? And I think we have a responsibility not to do that to business owners. Because sometimes people will be at their first grand opening. They're like, okay, so what's next? It's like,
I just asked them, I'm like, what's next for you?
remaining
Like,
here?
What are you doing?
But it is important to let people just grow at their pace sometimes.
And it's also important to understand what your vision is and not the vision of the developer. So it's like, I'm attractive to a developer, but it's like, you're not paying me to open up a business. I'm paying you to make it more desirable for your customers. But that doesn't work for my bottom line. So I think it's important to learn, what does growth look like for you? I mean, we absolutely want to grow, but do we really need to grow in Detroit, or do we need to grow to other emerging markets? And then it's like, before you grow to emerging markets, I want to connect with more women of color, because that continues to be the disconnect. Unfortunately, that's not my primary customer. So it's like, how can I reach African American women sooner? So we can have more opportunities and access to fitness. So it's not such of a bad relationship when we're in our 30s and 40s, because it's hard.
Yeah. Have you guys ever done a spin class?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I
I
have.
did
It's
one.
painfully
It was-
hard.
Like the next day.
But what I like
triggered.
about it is you can go at your own pace.
The next day though. I couldn't sit down
believe
for
you
like
mean days.
2 days. Like,
But I run and everything. So
Yeah.
doing the spin class, it's a different type of workout for me. But I also
is.
appreciate that people aren't like staring at you, watching what you're doing. Everybody's
True.
minding their
Everybody's
business.
True.
And you can
Very
go at
true.
your own pace. So you don't have to like go as hard as everybody else does. If
Yeah.
you're just beginning, you go at your whatever you can
I
do.
mean, I think we just have to go to Detroit to do the class.
I think so.
together.
I think so.
I think we do.
It's such a good workout.
Well, here's what I want to ask you. I think that this conversation about growth and all this stuff, sometimes it's so easy to just daydream. Like if you sit and you're like, tell me what it is that you want. I can vision board that for days and days and days. But nobody really talks about the accountability piece, right? And so I'm just like wondering how you stay motivated to be accountable, and how do you make goals and how do you keep to those goals?
Well, I always want to learn more. So whether it's more fitness certifications, I have all the TRX certifications. I have 4 cycle certifications. I have my 200 yoga hours. I want my 300, but it just becomes time. I should be going to Dartmouth this fall on building a high performance business. So I'm always,
Congrats.
thank you, looking for more opportunities because I don't have a boss, but I do have a network of bosses, so we kind of connect with others. But when I'm pouring into young people, I always tell them, you need to max out at your job because you want to be a boss for yourself, but you're never going to be able to work for yourself if you don't know that you have to improve, and there's always more to give. So I always push myself to more.
Do you journal or write any of that down?
I do journal. I don't journal as much as I used to. It's more note taking. It's just copious amounts of notes. I was listening to you guys talk about your team, and I'm building a team. And then again, I'll have good team players, and then they go off to college.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you work
That's
with
tough.
teams.
Oh my God, we're even.
You're just making amazing college students.
You're building the next generation.
Yeah.
Though. People
And
who are
maybe
gonna
they'll
be
graduate
entrepreneurs.
and they'll come back, or they'll help you open up your next location in another emerging market.
I get the other ones in a gap year, and they'll be great. They're like, okay, Amina, I'm going to grad school. So I try to identify the other ambitious people and lean on the ambitious people. But I'm just really driven, and there's so many Black women. I mean, I'm sitting at a table with Black women that are killing it. So there's always more to give. And then, in the society where Instagram is right there and Instagram looks perfect, and everybody has these curated lives, I always tell people that I'm not the glamorous founder. It's very rare that you'll see me in makeup. I'm always running from a class to a class. It is very real. But it's good to look at those people, not at what they're doing, but the hard work that is behind that.
Yeah. I mean, nobody puts their business plan on Instagram, right? It's like you just see the mirage, but you don't see the work that goes into it. You don't see that, like even hearing you talk about your business, I'm sure that it is meticulously planned, and nothing is a coincidence or an accident. And so how do you convey that to other people, right? That you're out here, like, you are grinding hard, so you don't have time to be taking like makeup, makeup selfies all day.
Sometimes it's just no's. I always say no. So again, when you're going back to just choices or the overall, how do you stay focused on track? Just like, what are you trying to do? So when I go back to, I'm trying to make communities better, and I'm trying to create more pathways for African American women to be healthy, regardless of the roadblocks. So it's like, what else can I do? What else can I do?
Yeah.
What else can I do? So yeah.
You know what I do appreciate? You talking about how you worked at a gym. Because sometimes people want to start a business, but they haven't built up the foundation of knowledge that they need to know to build a business.
credibility.
And that does take patience and sometimes taking a step back
Yeah.
in what you were doing prior
Humbling
to that.
yourself.
Humbling yourself to go work someplace so that you can learn the ins and outs of something so that when you're ready to start your own, you have that basic foundation. Because some people don't do that.
I worked at a gym. I worked at a yoga studio. I worked at a Pilates studio. I worked at a bar studio. And now, and now at 30. So, and listening to people and really learning the systems, and even traveling. Everywhere I travel, I like to go to the studios that are supposed to have the best instructors. I want to see the communities, and I want to see the instructors. So, some classes are really great branded experiences in New York. But there's no connection with the instructor and the community.
Right.
So it's good where you can travel and see what you can take.
What's your pitch strategy though? Like when you're talking about I'm thinking about the people who are at home who are like, okay, I've never pitched someone before. I don't know how to talk about my business. How do you do that in a way where you are conveying your ideas, but also you are speaking about a business that, money is about to exchange hands?
Say it with conviction. I was telling people for 3 years that I was opening a psycho studio. And people are like, girl, you crazy or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm opening a psycho studio. And a lot of people get really defensive when people are like, girl, you can't do that. Da, 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 da. I would listen to the no's. So I would use, how can I make this more digestible? So by the time I'm ready to pitch, everybody had already told me I can't do this. So I had already created more pathways. And what was really hard for people to understand is that how are you going to get people to unite and sweat? They were like, people are just going to ride on a bike in a dark room listening to music. And I'm like, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And I said, and people from all different backgrounds are going to realize that they're more alike than they are different. And in the current times, everybody in my studio really kind of leans in. Girls that have landed in Detroit have friends, they have clients, they have sitters. There's just so many things. So going back, staying concise, not being in your nerves, and
practicing a lot.
Practice.
It sounds to me that you were pitching people before you had a pitch to make.
I was pitching to my banker friends that are all about facts.
That's great, yeah.
And they're like, not enough facts. And I'm like,
That is the most important thing, though, to have
really
your
good.
research.
Practice.
That's what people care the most about when you're making a pitch, the numbers. Like, what does it come down to? How is this going to make some money?
and I would say listening to yourself. I recorded myself and I was like,
That's good
oh
advice.
my God, that sounds terrible. And I also do that with teaching because you're like, oh, I said that 5 times.
Right.
I need more,
need to be more mindful next time. Yeah.
less jargon, more concise. And then whatever it is, if it's 5 minutes, be 5 minutes. Don't try to be the 10-minute. Keep it concise with the facts.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate so many things that you said because, the subtext of all of this is that sometimes people say no to us and doors close and opportunities close, but it doesn't mean that that's the end of the idea that you have. And so I'm really going to take that with me about channeling passion, but also matching it with action all the time and staying true to your own convictions. And so this is actually a perfect segue into today's money meditation. It's that time again, y'all. And today we just really want to think about all the ways that saying no can actually be a good thing. And I just, I am making space to really receive this. So I want all of us to be in that mindset. So, let's think about this. Have you ever had a door close in your professional life? A job that didn't work out that led to something amazing down the road? The truth is, some of the opportunities that look the best on paper aren't all they're cracked up to be. And hindsight is always 20/20. Looking back, what's something that didn't work out the way you thought, but wound up leading to something even better? I would love to hear from all of you.
I'll start. I guess we can go this way.
Yeah.
It was a job. I wanted the job. I was like down for the third interview to get hired, and I didn't end up getting hired for that job. But if I would have gotten hired, I probably would not have gone as hard with MyFab Finance and probably wouldn't be working for myself today.
Wow.
So it was not getting a job that I thought I wanted.
For myself, it was being at a job that they didn't treat me very well there, and they didn't understand my value at the time. And so I was there for 6 years. And at one point I was just like, I've hit a plateau. This isn't working out for me. I went to them and had conversations. Didn't go the way that I anticipated. So I ended up quitting to go somewhere else. And it actually ended up being a scary thing for me, but actually being an incredible way for me to advance my career.
Wow. For me, it was, I really wanted to go to law school after I graduated college, and it was during the recession, and I just couldn't afford it. There was I had to go to work and I had to support my family. And I remember just being really upset at the time because I was like, this is going to derail my life in every way, shape, or form. And it was such a lesson that, like, life just happens. Sometimes there's no money. It's nobody's fault. And I really, that was a huge fork in the road for me. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I work for myself and I'm a resilient person in the workplace because I didn't let that be a defining thing that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Well, I think I touched on this a little bit, but I would say downtown Detroit or Opportunity Detroit not giving me an opportunity was a much better opportunity. I landed up in a neighborhood and I have the best community and I'm able to do more with teens. So it's good.
All right.
I
Well,
love that.
we do want to hear what you came up with. So let us know your response to this week's money meditation by posting on social media. You know what our hashtag is. Hashtag live colorful with 2 L's at the end of colorful. That's the words live colorful with a double L at the end.
Y'all, is this really the end?
No. Yes.
Yes.
Y'all, every time we get together, it just feels like time it just flies by. It's so amazing to see all of the likes, the retweets, the 5-star ratings. Thank you.
Yes, that's why we came back again.
Even the SoundCloud comments, the Apple Podcast reviews all season long have just that has really carried us. So thank you so much to everyone at home who's listening. And we just want to thank you for all of the support because we feel it. So whether you're a day one listener or you're just tuning in, we really, 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 really appreciate you.
Yes.
And we hope that you think back to some of the advice that you've heard from the season next time you're getting ready for your next major milestone in life. And above all, don't forget to live colorful.